Hey everybody, this is Mr. Gable. Today for math, you're going to need your iPad, your math journal, notebook, and a pencil. All right, so in your math notebook, please go ahead and give today's title, Writing and Graphing Inequalities. Make sure that's in your table of contents as well as in your page for today. And our learning target is today you will work to have a better understanding of how to write and graph inequalities. So pause this video if you need to get that stuff in your notebook, and then here we go. So let's start with the definition, and please make sure you're adding this to your notebook. Remember, every time you see that little blue notebook symbol, go ahead and make sure you're getting this in there. So an inequality really just compares two values, show if one is less than, greater than, or simply not equal or equal to another value. We also have greater than and equal to, and less than and equal to, less than or equal to. So make sure you're getting those symbols in there, and then the definitions, and you can include some of these examples. I think most of you will know what those means, but what they mean. But you might want to add these last two down here, because that less than and equal to and greater than and equal to, those are kind of new or newer. And then always remember that larger part of the symbol here is really talking about greater than, and then the smaller part is talking about less than. Okay, so I think we know those things. So let's go ahead and, just for a quick warm-up, let's go ahead and plot all of these numbers, all 6 of these numbers, on the same number line. Okay, go ahead and do that work. Pause the video, do that work in your notebook, and I'll have some answers for you in a second. All right, so here is what your number line should look like. So our greatest number was 8, and then 2, 2.5, and then 0, -2, -3.5, and then -4. All right. So if we're to write a sentence involving a real life situation that can be modeled using an inequality, I came up with this one because I certainly think about this one a lot. You must be at least 18 inches tall to ride the roller coaster, or 48 inches tall, excuse me, not 18 inches. And I think of that because that one is that greater than or equal to, because you can be 48 inches and then you can ride the roller coaster, and you can certainly be taller. But anything less than 48 inches, you're not getting on that ride. Okay, and that's more out of safety. So go ahead and think of a real life situation where you might use this comparison of an inequality. And then that word inequality, while you're writing your comparison, really think about that word inequality. I think if we say inequality, a lot of times people are kind of like, well, what do you mean? But if we say less than, greater than, people know what we're talking about right away. So just make sure you really know that the word inequality is in referencing to greater than, less than, etc. Okay. So write an inequality. So now we want you to write an inequality. And I'm going to show the first one for you, and then I want you to do 2, 3, and 4 in your notebook. So I'm going to show that first one. Okay, so the first one is really saying that because of that dark circle right there, that -1 is part of this. So the answer can be -1, or it can be all numbers greater or equal to -1. So that dark circle means a lot, and that means that -1 is included in the inequality. And the opposite of that is true. If that is a circle and not darkened in or filled in, then it is not including that -1. So if that was just a non-colored in circle, then all of the numbers would be, they would have to be greater than -1. Okay, so but because of it is darkened, and I always think of the darkened in circle as kind of like it's selected. You've chosen -1 as part of the answer. Okay, so go ahead and let's do 2, 3, and 4 in your notebook, and make sure you're writing out the inequality like I had mine, both in symbol and in words, and then we'll take a look at those answers together. Okay, so here are the answers for 2, 3, and 4. That x is less than or equal to number 2, and again that's that darkened circle, so 2 is part of it, and then 3 and 4 both have what I'm calling that non-selected, or that just the circle there, And so 4 is not part of the number, so it has to be greater than 4 to be part of this. Okay, and then x here is less than 0. So 0 is not part of it, but anything less than 0, so any negative number would work for this inequality. All right, I hope you understand the difference between the dark circle and that non-filled in, or we could call it the white circle. All right, so now we're going to work with writing an inequality from words. So a number q plus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 7.9. So write this word sentence as an inequality. So let's break this down. And I'm going to do this right with you as you put this into your notebook. So again, there's our words, and each of those words that's kind of underlined there, those words are things that we're going to write. So we've got q plus 5, and then is greater than or equal to, so there's our greater than or equal to symbol, and then negative 7.9. So that's how that would then translate into words. So our inequality is just q plus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 7.9. Now, be smart and put that in your notebook, and pause the video, and I'll be ready for you with our next piece of work. So our example here is a number y minus 3 is less than negative 15.3. So again, write this word sentence as an inequality. Do this in your notebook, pause the video, and I'll be right with you. All right, so to write that into our notebook, it should look like this. There's our words, and now we should just write y minus 3. So there I have that, is less than, so there's our less than symbol, and then negative 15.3. So there's our inequality. Y minus 3 is less than negative 15.3. All right, I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but just keep practicing that. All right, here are 2 more examples. Go ahead and pause the video, write these in these word sentences as inequalities, and then let's check our work together. All right, so here we have a number x is at most negative 10. So because they say at most, that also includes that negative 10. So x is less than or equal to negative 10. So there we would, if we were putting that on a graph, we would have that dark circle because negative 10 is included. All right, if we look at number 2, twice a number y is more than negative 5/2. All right, so 2y is greater than, and that's that more than, negative 5/2. Okay, so that's how your inequality looks. Okay, let's keep her moving. So tell whether negative 2 is a solution to inequalities. Now, when we do this, this work really is talking about our substitution. So here we have y minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 6. So here we're going to put in negative 2 where we see y. That's our substitution method. So we've written out our inequality. We've substituted negative 2 in for y. And now we're really just going to combine or simplify. So negative 2 minus 5. So that's like it's negative 2 and it's going to go down 5 more degrees outside. So that means the temperature is now negative 7. Every good Minnesotan knows that. And negative 7 is greater than or equal to negative 6? No, that doesn't work. So negative 2 is not a solution. But if I look at this one, letter B, why don't you try this one on your own? So go ahead and sub in negative 2 and try it. Okay, so we wrote out the inequality, okay, and now we've put in negative 2. So that negative 2, now we're going to multiply because we've got a value on the variable, okay. So now we're going to multiply minus 2 times negative 5.5. Now remember, when we multiply a negative times a negative, that makes a positive. So now we have 11 is less than 14. Well, yeah, that is true. 11 is less than 14. So now we have a solution. So yes, we can say that negative 2 is a solution for that inequality, but negative 2 was not a solution for letter A. All right, let's keep it rolling. So here I've got 3 examples. you're just going to substitute -5 in. You're going to do this work in your notebook, and I'll see you on the next slide. All right, so if you did the work, number 3, -5 is not a solution because you end up with 7 is greater than 7. And then here, this one is not a solution either because you end up with 1 plus 10 is less than -9, and that's certainly, or equal to -9, and that's certainly not true. And then here, when we do this work, we actually find that, yeah, that works out. It is a solution. So it is greater than or equal to -3. All right. This is our last step, okay? And this is your mini assessment. So if you could do these 4 problems in your notebook and then pause the video, and I'll check back with you in just a second. All right. So the number A is at least 5. Write the word sentence as an inequality. So when we hear words like at least 5, that means that 5 is included. So A is greater than or equal to 5. So that would be a darker circle on a graph. Okay. Now 4 times a number, B, so that's 4B, is at least, or excuse me, is at most -4.73. So write the word sentence as an inequality, and you should have 4B is less than or equal to -4.73. Okay, and then the last one, it is not a solution, and then that was number 3, and then number 4, that graph, because it says less than and equal to, we have to have that dark circle and then the line going, because it's less than, we'll have the line going to the left, to lower numbers. All right, so that is our lesson today for Inequalities 11.1, and this will be our new unit, and I think things should go well for you in this unit. Please make sure you take notes. And then the other thing that I want to tell you is that in the folder where you found this video, the link for this video, you will also find your workbook pages. And the people that did the workbook pages and their work in our Big Ideas, they did really, really well on the unit final. So please make sure you're doing all that work. Please stay with this, and good luck to you. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.